My competitor copies everything I do on social media. How should I respond? So, I have a great product but zero audience. Should I launch anyway or build hype first? Actually, hi, how's everybody doing? My name is Samba, and I'm about to answer some questions from the people that have been watching our content. So let's get into it. I'm launching a streetwear brand where my Instagram posts barely get any engagement. Should I focus on paid ads or content first? I think it depends on what kind of budget that you have, right? If you've got budget to invest in paid ads, that's great. But you don't really want your brand to be solely built on paid ads, because what happens if meta changes overnight, right? I think it's important to make sure that you find your basis, start to use free reach to understand what kind of content people are actually engaging with, and then I would scale what's working with paid. I wouldn't just start with paid, because even though it might be effective from a sales perspective, you never quite know whether you can be even more effective if you're actually utilizing content that people like anyway, right? So I would start with organic and I would amplify it with paid. I've been offered a micro-influencer collab of £200. Is it worth it, or should I put the money into paid ads instead? If you're being charged £200 for an influencer campaign, I guess it depends on how much money you have, right? Like if you're being charged £200 and you only got £400 and the person just wants to do one post, that's a terrible deal, right? But if you have a little bit more budget, to be fair, £200 ask is not too bad, especially depending on like how much like average basket value it is for your product, right? And how much volume you're looking to get out. Personally, I love creators because I think that they provide more than just content. They provide perspective, they provide trust, they provide obviously reach, which is super great. But then if you have a great relationship with a micro influencer, it can change your world, especially if they're on the rise. And I would always go through that because I just think that there's just more wins. What actually makes a brand premium? Is it the price, the story, or the product? It's all three. The thing that makes a brand premium is the consideration and the craftsmanship that goes into not just the product, but the experience, but also the perception of the person that buys it. Those that really care about appealing to a premium audience, they know that every ounce of detail matters because they're a detail-oriented audience. There are people that like to show, not tell. So the product should do all the telling on their behalf. If you have a product that has no care, then people that will buy it will have no care, right? And those that tend to be a premium audience also seem to want to be treated as premium. So you need to make sure that the entire experience is shaped around the personality of the end audience, and the brand plays the role as a mirror of that audience, which is super important. I have a great product but zero audience. Should I launch anyway or build hype first? Actually, it depends. I think a lot of the times I used to think that it's important to almost like get an audience excited or get a room filled, and then after you get the room filled, you give them the product. But the problem with that is you've not actually given yourself the opportunity to stress test your processes, your products, how people think about it, etc., etc. If you build a lot of hype, and you've seen this with like modern day restaurants, there's some that had this like big pre-launch. Now there's a lot of pressure on the launch day, and because of not giving themselves enough time to be able to stress test that model. So I actually think that it's better to like build in stealth, iterate, get your operations right, get your product feedback right, get people to understand, and then you scale with your fame strategy. Super important. I'm getting traffic to my site, but barely any sales. Is it the product that's the problem, or is it marketing? So you know that it's marketing based on the quality of the audience, like who are the people that is actually coming to your website. If that's completely different to the people that would actually appreciate your product, then you have a marketing problem. But if the people that are coming over are your customer and are the people that should be buying from you, and your website is not doing a great job at captivating them and converting them and getting them to actually like stay on the follow through, that's when you know that it's the product side. And usually it's a little bit of both, right? Both things can be true at the same time. Really, you need real synergy between the two teams to ensure that all the traffic that you're generating, you're actually getting them to stay within the ecosystem and buy from you. I've saved £500 for advertising. Should I put it all on one platform or spread it between a few? I always think that it's important to get depth and focus before you spread yourself too thin, right? The reason why I say that is, it's almost like saying, I want to be a professional footballer and a basketballer and a baseball player, right? Yeah, you'll be able to play the sport, but the people that are more focused in that discipline will kick your ass, right? And when you're talking about social channels, those are completely different contexts. It's like going and playing rock music in a library, right? It's a completely different context, a completely different audience, a completely different proposition. And if you're just like spreading yourself too thin, you're not really getting the real depth to be able to deliver a connection or even to really understand the platform. So I would start with one platform, learn about it, and figure out what about that platform you're going to take over to the next platform, and then what's the newness that that audience audience needs to be able to make sure that you get that depth. I would do that. You have enough time than you think. I want to start a podcast to grow my brand. Is it too saturated? No, it's not saturated because most podcasters don't make it past 10 episodes, right? I think that if you make it past 10 episodes, you're already within like the 1% or something crazy like, right? So what I would do is ensure that you're doing a podcast, having conversations that should be brought to light, but are currently not being brought to light or in a way that's not been done before. If you're just gonna take a carbon copy of another podcast and do your version of that's not gonna work, I would bring something inventive, new and different so you can stray people away from what they're currently consuming. And not just from a podcast perspective, but in other entertainment platforms. So in that conversation around podcasts, we have the Bottleneck podcast. So me and Rory Sutherland, my amazing co-host, who I have the pleasure of being intellectually punched in the face by every fortnight. We talk about the theory of constraints, how you take really big problems and turn them into simple solutions. And we just have a lot of fun, just like speaking to some of the smartest people on the planet. So if you love podcasts, I know I'm plugging another one, make sure you tune in. It'll be great to see you there. My competitor copies everything I do on social media. How should I respond? Be better. That's just the way to respond. I think imitation is the greater form of flattery. If you're not doing things worth copying, then are you really doing anything different? I think the key is to make sure that you're not a one-trick pony, that you rely on the content as a point of difference. I think that that's a way or a medium of storytelling, but your way of difference should be the way your business is, how it operates, the products it creates, the fast thinking, the fact that you're already on to the next question or the next answer or the next project. I think that momentum and pace is a superpower that a team can have. Content will be copied. It's the greatest form of flattery. Just gonna have to deal with it and be better. I want to rebrand because I'm bored of my logo. Is that a valid reason? Is your audience bored of your logo? And also, are there other problems that you need to solve? I think that sometimes we spend a lot of time changing things that doesn't really make a categorical impact, right? And often than not, you become bored before your audience do, right? So don't change the song too quickly. You know how many times I went to a party and a DJ would put a song on and before the drop that you want, they'll change it. That's what a lot of people do. They try to fix things that actually doesn't make a categorical difference. I would focus on what are the areas that you can add real value, real connection with your audience. I'll focus on iterating there. And then if eventually after a couple of years you want to change your logo, then so be it. But there's probably some other problems that you're avoiding right now and just trying to look busy. So thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me all the way to the end of this video. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure that you click one of these and see you soon.